Hi, good afternoon, and welcome back to Sahara TV. And we have a guest this afternoon. Her name is Nosa Garrick. She's an aspiring filmmaker of a film called Africa Is. Good afternoon, Nosa, and welcome to Sahara TV.
Hi, how are you, Fungai?
Great, great, great. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Okay, we've been getting a lot of buzz about this project you've been working on. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is and what inspired you?
Okay, so the project is called My Africa Is, and what it is a documentary series about the African continent and how it's changing and who the people are, or at least some of the young people that are involved in its development.
What kind of subjects do you really want to tell or to show the world that you might think might not be reported by mainstream media?
Some of the things that we're planning on covering are at Nigeria to start with we'll be covering the youth civil society that is currently growing. It was something that I was a part of when I was there, and I didn't find that it got much coverage. But I think it's really interesting that you have a large population of youth on the continent, and in Nigeria, you see them coming together and starting to speak out against bad governance and understanding that in order for them to move forward, they need to curb government corruption and they need to actually make sure funding is going to different programs. So it's interesting for me to see young people standing up for their rights on the African continent. And I think that's something that will inspire other Africans in other nations because it's a lot of similar situations we're dealing with. And it would be great to see that coming out of a country like Nigeria where corruption is rampant and get them to kind of think about how they can bring a similar change to their countries. And another thing we'll be covering is kind of tourism on the continent. There's a number of surf colonies that are popping up on the West Coast.
Hmm.
And I just find it really interesting that we have so much coastline that we haven't really taken advantage of. And it's not about developing and bringing in huge resorts, but rather seeing people who are employing locals and creating jobs in that way, which is a form of empowerment in areas where these people wouldn't have jobs or any real kind of livelihood. Um, Another story would be covering, I don't want to give too much away, so maybe that's enough for now.
Okay, okay. Now tell me, you teamed up with some other people,
Mhm.
obviously, to work with. Who are these people, and what are their roles into this documentary?
We have Kathleen Bomani, who is one of the curators behind TEDx Dar es Salaam.
Hmm.
And she's just a really interesting and amazing person who's just very knowledgeable. We want to make sure that the content we're covering isn't too idealistic because we're not trying to paint something that is just kind of a simple narrative. We wanted to keep it complex, which is why we brought Kathleen on, as she's so knowledgeable on the continent and different ongoing developments. And we have Durrell Nelson, who just graduated from film school. He's an African American gentleman who's never been to the continent, and he's going to be line producing for us over there. And he's just really excited about going to the continent for the first time. And it would be great to get an African American view on the new discovery of what is in essence home, but you've
Right.
never really connected with, and just kind of showing that experience as well. And then we have a number of other people. We have a DP, Bob Bushfield, who's won 2 Emmy Awards, and we brought him on for his expertise with just being able to shoot things really beautifully. Because a lot of times when you see the African continent portrayed on CNN or any of these other news sites, it's very grainy, it's dark, but we want to show it how beautiful, really rich agriculturally, and I don't think that's something we see enough.
Okay, cool. Now, let me ask you, obviously, this idea was born in 2010, like you said.
Mhm.
That was when you went to Nigeria.
Mhm.
But when you say Africa is, my Africa is, you're obviously talking on a broader terms of the whole continent.
Right.
So obviously, this is going to involve a lot of traveling. If
Yes.
you're going to have to capture what Africa, what people are missing. So have you put together the funds to be able to do this? Because it's obviously going to be very costly.
Yes, it is quite costly, and that's what we're actually working on right now. We have a Kickstarter um, account which we created a couple weeks ago. Well, it's been created, but it was launched 2 weeks ago, where we're actually aggregating funds from individuals.
Right.
So people who actually want to see this and believe this is something that is necessary, we're asking them to lend their donations by July 27th at 9:15 p.m. If they go on Kickstarter, they can easily search out "My Africa Is." It'll come up, and they can donate anything from $1 to $10,000.
Okay.
Obviously,
You're gonna receive it all.
everything in between is everything matters. Every little drop matters. And if we don't raise the money by July 27th, we don't get any of the money we've raised. So
I
it's
see that you mentioned 9:15 to be specific. Why is that the time there?
it was launched at 9:15 p.m. on
Oh,
June 12th, and so we have 45 days to raise the money.
okay. And when you
So
say the money, how much is your target?
$75,000.
$75,000.
Yes.
So is this enough to cover exactly what you want to do, or this is really just the basic?
This is just a portion to at least cover some travel, some lodging, and actually pay the staff that we have, because we have them traveling on the continent for 3 months.
Okay. So basically, what I mean, so far, have you raised any so far?
Yeah,
Since you,
we've raised almost $4,000. It's
okay,
still early,
okay.
and
20,
we know we're going to hit the goal, so we just need to keep it going.
okay. Now, if you had an opportunity to let any other African young aspiring filmmakers out there, what would you say to them?
I would say put your dream together and in the most comprehensive package you can, and don't give up. I would say it's a passion, and it's something that only you believe in, and it's up to you to sell the dream to everybody around you. And it's hard. It's a lot of work, but the reward is it's extremely rewarding. And I think we need to tell more of our own stories. So I highly encourage anyone who wants to tell a story about anything, even especially the African continent, to go ahead and pursue their dream.
Okay, so when you started, what kind of hardships did you face in terms of getting the dream on the road?
I think the hardships a lot of artists in general, and just kind of people who are doing work independently, is actually starting it. Because when you start out something that hasn't been done before, it's a lot of, can I do this? Is it possible? But then you find that instead of looking at the bigger goal and the bigger achievement, you just look at what you have to do every day. And you just achieve everything you can day by day. And that really is overcoming your own self-doubt and saying, I can do this, and I just need to take it one step at a time.
Okay, cool. Now, I see that you have a trailer already made,
Mm-hmm.
and this is basically a trailer about you introducing some of the workers that you're going to be working with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when do people start expecting something complete, considering that you're still fundraising, obviously?
Well, we plan on heading out to the continent October of this year, and we'll be shooting for 3 months. And by the time we're done cutting, we're looking at a June 2013 release.
Mm-hmm.
It will be available online
Okay.
globally. So, but also while we are shooting, we'll be sending updates and giving you little clips and teasers, just to kind of show you what we're doing and what we're experiencing as we're there, and keep people engaged in our story and allow people to be a part of the journey, really.
Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to ask you one more question. I know that you went to Nigeria to cover the elections.
Mm-hmm.
What was your general feel of, you know, the situation there on the ground?
Well, I went there actually with Voter Quench to get young people to vote. And my feeling on the ground, it was an interesting experience. I've noticed a lot of young people want to do something there.
Right.
A lot of the young people there did want to see change, because all of us are going to inherit it. You know, not everyone's going to be able to leave Nigeria. Like they actually are there and have to stay there and make a living there. And the sense is the sense you have are people who want change. As you saw with the fuel subsidy, there was a huge eruption in sentiment and emotions because people are tired of being kind of bamboozled a bit by the government, you know? I
Right.
mean, they're all aware about what the issue is, but I think that it's about it's really about empowering people and educating people, and it's really a system that needs to be kind of reworked, you know? And it's going to take a lot of time because, as we know, corruption in Nigeria is something that has infiltrated every nook and cranny of government. But it really is about getting individuals to start looking at what they can do on their own, because it's about setting our own examples, as government is a reflection of society. And it's about getting people to start thinking about what change they can bring.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to give you one more question, or in
Hmm.
fact, and one more opportunity to give a shout out to all those would-be donors actually watching the program now, and let them know why they should support this cause.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm Nigerian and I've been living in the US for a while. And for me, I'm tired of defending our continent. I know that there's so much beauty and so much just resilience that we need to show, and we need to start telling our stories. A lot of us have talked about why this is important. We're creating the opportunity and we want to tell your stories. We want to tell the African story, and we really need everyone's support, however it can be, whether it's monetary, whether it's partnership, whether it's getting the word out, and help us out to make this happen, because this is a dream I think everyone on the continent has been hoping for and wishing for and praying for, and we'd like to be some of the people who actually make that change happen.
Okay. In fact,
So
there
help
you.
us out on Kickstarter. Go to Kickstarter and donate to My Africa Is.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nosa, for coming on the program, and we
Thank
wish
you.
you success with this wonderful project that you're working on.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Viewers, that was Nosa Garrick. She's an aspiring filmmaker. She's actually working on a documentary called My Africa Is. And of course, she's in the process of trying to raise funds so that she can make this project, reality. So if there's anybody out there who feels generous enough to dig deep, she's found on Kickstarter, where they've put up, a Kickstarter account, and anybody who's feeling generous enough to help her out with the project, you're more than welcome. And that'll be it for now. My name is Fungai Maboreke.